Hello, everybody. Thanks again for joining us. We are on our new live series of experts that are coming to us with their insights about quantum health, how to manage different ways of looking at health and health improvement. And we have today with us a transcultural therapist, Viola Edward, who you've heard on my platform various times, presenting to us through the lens of her two books that she's written and many other anthologies she's been part of, the deeper perspectives that she's been gathering and watching over the years, many different events globally and worldwide, locally as well here in Cyprus. And we're going to go today a little bit deeper into the bigger picture. How does it all fit together? So first of all, thank you so much, Viola, for joining me. It's really great to have you back here.
Thank you for having me too.
So I wanted everybody to know.
So much fun and depth to talk to you.
Yeah, it's always a great experience. And we have a few more add-ons to your list of variables for your title. So I wanted people to know that you are the author of two books, but also a transcultural therapist with also business consulting, and the CEO and founder of the Grit Academy, which teaches people a lot about resilience and the quality of grit through breath work and many other
mentoring, yes.
Mentoring type of style of work. And she's also, Viola, been featured in so many different platforms over the world. She's a conscious leadership visionary, really, and someone who's now involved even in fashion. She's advising corporates and all the while has been really having her finger on the pulse of mental health and emotional wellness. So, Viola, it's an honor to have you again here. Thank you for making the time for this. And tell us, just as we start off, about the two books that you've written. One is Who Makes the Bed? The other one is about Breathing the Rhythm of Success. I know they're both very specific and different, but they look at the general scope of health and wellness in one's life. Tell us a little bit about how you see the contribution.
Yes, well, in early 90s, we were pioneering in South America about creative thinking, about emotional intelligence. And also back then, it was not very common to talk about personal mission and vision. You know, we used to talk about military mission or diplomatic mission or religious mission, but not what is my personal mission. So the first book, it was about that, about all that wonderful discovery that I get through my studies and practice in breath work and transpersonal psychotherapy. And I was coming also from the world of transactional analysis since I'm early 20. So what breathwork did is like join the forces of what I already have been navigating to. And then it was also the end of an era in my life after 21 years working in corporation. So I start my own business and then I open a center of personal development and breathwork. So, and then taking all these to corporation, it was a wonderful time to be in a boardroom with like the CEO of a company and his managers and lying down and breathing on all the exercises we did and all the weekend and long weekend when we used to go with different managers to recreate certain holistic or conscious supervision process, adding what was this knowledge about what is the creative thinking and how does it work. And also something we did back then is when we used to review what is the mission and the vision of a business. We used to work it with the team I was part of, starting with the personal vision. What is it that you as individual, where do you want to be? What is it? What was your why? And then extract the similarity between all these exercises and create the business one. So it was a beautiful time. And this first book was published in the 90s. It was not easy to publish books back then. And I'm always thankful to Jose Luis, my editor, back then to have helped me to do this book. And the importance of this book also, it was the way, because it's interactive and it has exercises, the way how I could adapt it for corporation, for organization, for teenager, for retired people who are reinventing themselves. So this book traveled with me the world as a, how could you say, the first child, and it's always have a very beautiful space in my heart. And I think that was 1997. Also, there is a beautiful story about this book. I am, as you know, I am Arabic origin. I didn't inherit a lot of the Arabic way of selling and all these things, but there is a story about me that I was working for a company and giving consultancy to a company. It was a company for supplement, and they asked me for a material, and I was writing this book. I just have one chapter of the book, and I said, look, I can give you that, and I sell the third chapter of my book before the book was finished. And there's this joke about me that finally my Lebanese Iraqi genes appears in that. But the behind this story, it was the eagerness of that time to learn and to apply what we were discovering, what we were pioneering about in all areas of life. So that was my firstborn book. And it helped me a lot because back then also I had difficult situation in life and came over and managed to come over alcoholism and chain smoking. And the battling of the process of rehabilitation is so tough. So all these theories, I could take them beyond theory. I could apply them to myself. I could see how it worked, what is that it didn't work, how, the transformation of that in a whole healing process. Because I can tell you something, I came back to life after I managed to stop these addictions and initiate my journey in health and all these health era that we started in the late 80s, beginning of the 90s, being organic, being vegetarian, or being vegan when veganism was not popular at all. And it was so difficult, or doing the organic agriculture with a group of people, the consciousness about what we're wearing, the consciousness about what we use in our faces, what we use, what kind of cream we use in our body. It was not only what we eat, it was also how we dress, and it was also how we think, how we talk, and all that had impacted the way, even how we dream and how we relate to others and how we choose the people we want to be with. Yes, beautiful time.
Very interesting to hear that whole generation from back in the 1980s, 90s coming into this millennium. And now you know about the world in such a different way. You've been traveling the world and really working as a humanitarian, but also psychotherapist and consultant and speaker on so many different platforms. I wondered if you could give us your current summary. What do you see the world is really struggling with, and how do we go about thinking about things in maybe a more helpful way or a different way to before in terms of health and psychological safety?
Yes, well, I saw it years ago because before I had my own businesses, I worked 10 years in insurance company. And when I start consulting businesses, I would tell them all this is measurable. You can measure the improvement of your working population by rework, by time of arrival to the work, and by your health insurance policy. You can measure that. Because if we talk about, if we go, let's talk about women, for example. I started working in the 70s at very early age, and back then, maybe in some part of the world, in Venezuela, we had already many women models to learn from, but still, in some other part of the world, it was not that easy, isn't it? So we learn different patterns to be in that world, which is the way how we speak, the way how we hide our emotion, the way how we smoke, the way how we drink, the way how we drive. So I think, personally, I think women, especially women, had paid a huge price in her health for all what she has achieved in these last 30, 40, 50 years. Because before we will not hear women having heart attack or having strokes. There were certain elements that women will be exposed to, but there were others that was not part of her domain, which is nowadays we hear it almost all the time, because she still have to deal with a lot of things at home, plus all what what you have to deal in the work, we travel, we drive, we manage companies, we do all what we do while we still have a lot of responsibility at home. So I think our health, women health, had deteriorated a lot. I'm not saying that only from a pessimistic point of view, because as you know me, I'm not pessimistic. As more in a conscious way, to be more aware of all what we are exposed to, so we take more care. So as you said, I travel almost every month or every 6 weeks to some place. So I'm 66 years old. I'm still very active in my work, be in my own companies or be in the voluntary work that I do around the world. So what a woman like me that spent 1 week a month or every 6 weeks in an airplane in another country, in another culture, in another climate, and with different food. What is it that I shall do to keep myself in a good shape, especially at this age? That I remember when I was 40 and I used to go every month from Caracas to Spain. I had a program of teaching holistic business consultancy and breathwork program for a year. So for 12 months, I traveled from Caracas to Madrid. I remember they will collect me from the airport, and that same day I will go to radio station, TV station, or to a program in that night. I was 40. My energy was different even after 12 hours of flight or 14, depending where I was coming from. But nowadays at 66, no way I can do that. Yeah. So when I have, back then it will be Madrid, Barcelona, Alicante, and Valencia every month, back and forth. Nowadays, when I do a transatlantic trip, I go 3-4 days before, because I really need to rest and kind of ground myself in the new place. Just to tell you an example, almost never go to a place where the event where I have to work is the same day or next day, at least 1 or 2 days before. So all these consideration about what we do when we keep when we are working in such an active way, how I'm doing. So also I have angels that support me around the world. I have been ill some years ago, quite ill actually. I got pneumonia in 2018 and 2 weeks in the hospital, and recovered from that quite okay after some months. But my metabolism suffered a lot from the medication and that shock that my body gets, first from the severe infection and then the medication that it was used to save my life. So I start getting certain reaction in my body that I could see that it's not my body, something fundamental change. And I used everything I know for several years, like fasting, like changing diet, like sleeping more, like using several type of herb, like everything I could do from my own knowledge, and will not get better. So finally went to doctors, and finally I find this marvelous doctor in Mexico that he understood what was happening, and he tell me that my metabolism needs to be reset, and we can make it, but there is certain changes I have to do in my diet. And one big change was that I would have to stop being vegetarian, hopefully for a while. Not because vegetarianism was bad, it's because my body was reacting to all the food that I've been eating. Therefore, I've been not being nurtured, at the same time bloated, at the same time putting a lot of weight on, but mainly not being nurtured because my body was reacting to so many nutrients. And that, after 31, 32 years of being vegetarian, that was a huge shock for me. And it was a huge decision. But I remember when I became vegetarian, it was first because of health, and then it became a philosophy of life. And then now life was guiding me again to change that way of living because of health. And I kind of surrendered to this new possibility and doing everything I'm told so I can go back to vegetarianism as soon as possible. So this methodology plus some medication had helped me to kind of reset my metabolism and start absorbing better the food and sleeping better, and slowly kind of get rid of these inflammation and the overweight. And I've been in good health for a while. So this is an example that many times we think we're doing the correct thing, but the body talk. And when the body talk, we need to listen and we need to go. Even though I know a lot about health, because alongside psychotherapy, I studied some year of Chinese medicine and homeopathy and quantum medicine, but I didn't know enough to treat myself. And who healed the healer? Always one of my teachers said that. So we need to be humble enough to go and attend those symptoms, because our body is our best friend and is telling us something is not going well. And then, of course, during this time, and we have had a lot of grief. I had grief, and that affected me too. Losing my darling friend Elena had affected me deeply in my psyche, my body. So again, back to therapy, back to doctor, especially back to therapy, and for some months, and be able to do the grieving process accompanied. So what I want to tell you through this is that it doesn't matter who we are, doesn't matter who we are. We are this human being that we're exposed and susceptible to so many things, and we need to ask for help. And I think my good star, my good luck was that I asked for help until I find the good help. And here I am in much better health and on my way to whatever I am here to do.
Great. So there's such a nice link there between the time from before and where you've ended up now. So I wanted to just ask you a little bit more now, Viola, about your actual book. Women have been reading this book over the years as we've been reviewing it and sharing it with others. And of course, there's a lot for men to get out of it, all about intimacy. That's right. And also you wrote one before also about success and breathing the rhythm of success. But for this particular time in your life, I wanted to ask a little bit about the people that have been touched by your books and those stories or testimonials or feedback that you got from anybody that used the book that touched you. Can you share any of that with us, a little information about how it's helped people?
Yes. Yes, well, this book was born because for me, I'm a testimony of somebody who it was very difficult for me to be in a relationship. It took me a long time to be able to settle into a relationship, and used to get out in like 6 weeks to 6 months. And my actual relationship, I think my first 2 years of marriage, I fantasized a lot about escaping. So it took time. So I dare to kind of write about relationship after 13 years of being married plus 3 years of being in the same relationship. And it was very important how conscious relationship develop, because even though I have had long years doing spiritual practice, I always say that marriage has been my best spiritual practice, because I have to practice every day collaboration, sense of justice, balance, especially justice. Whatever I want for me is also for him. So this book was born from there. One of the beautiful acknowledgement I have, it was from one of my clients that wrote to me after many, many years, that he was a client for many, many years ago. And he told me that he found my book by chance. And he said, that part, then you say you have to let love in, because we always are talking about who I love and and how difficult is the relationship and all that. And he says that the way how I describe in the book the importance to let love in, as this love that we chosen can give us the love, and that's the way how we can let that love in, because we have so many predisposition and idea about how love it should be. But then life presents us for those people who are like me and Michael, who we are so different, and how we can manage that difference to stay or to leave, because we cannot fight with the differences. We can respect and accept and integrate with a lot of respect and distance between what he is, what I am, what I do, what he does. Or we need to separate, because there is some differences that cannot be changed. And just today we were talking about it with Michael. Michael is going, the end of next week, he's going to do a trip to the Red Sea to swim with the dolphins. And I'm going to Alexandria because my book, this same book, was accepted in the Library of Alexandria. So he was asking me, you were not interested at all to come with me to come to the Red Sea? And I said, no, because I have my encounter with the dolphins. In the 90s, I went to Bahamas, and it was another session. We'll talk about that encounter. So for me, accompany you there, it was not what will make me vibrate. But going to the library and do that trip and all the tour about the library and honor the library and this book, plus hopefully the way I will open to many of my colleagues writer there, that make me shine. And we have a good laughter about it. And we also were talking about if my love for him will be measured about how much sport I do accompany him, because he's an athlete, extreme sport, and I'm the least sporty person you can have met in your life. But if he will tell me, show me your love and come and do sport with me, we would have to separate, because I remember myself escaping from sport even when I was 6 years old in primary school. So it will be such a effort, extraordinary effort for me, that even though I love him and cherish him, I could not prove for him that. And maybe you will think it's a little bit funny example, but sometimes we do that with our relationship. Like we demand things that means something very big for us, but the other person cannot deliver. And this is the time, I think, is to separate, not stay together, because if not, the two people or one person gonna be unsatisfied all her life. While we can do a different way, let love in the way how that person managed to give us the love, and see how we, with an alchemic, with a, how you say, in an alchemy process, we can take the best of that love and be two individuals who sharing a journey together. So he said that they were on the edge of separation, and that reading that chapter had helped them to sit and talk, and well, both of them did a trip, and they come here and we could work it together for some days, and they managed to stay together. So that was something beautiful about a remark of my book. As also we can accompany people to separate consciously and with lots of love and compassion for each other.
Yeah. Wow, very beautiful to hear that story of a personal encounter with the whole transformation of a relationship. And so when you think about the message beyond the book that you intended to write, reading between the lines, reading through the pages of that book, what do you think the truth that you wanted to pass on to other people was, that was maybe something written between the lines, if you know what I mean, sort of not directly said, but kind of an impression you wanted people to take from that read of the book?
Yeah. There is that expression in Spanish, todo vale. Everything is worth it. What is in between the line is that all of us, we are in a relationship, or looking for a relationship, or healing a relationship, or wanting to get rid of a relationship, or opening to a relationship. And I think the most important thing is also to understand that not all loving relationships culminate in a whole life together, but that doesn't mean that they didn't give us a treasure of wealth, love, and growth. And I think what is between the line of this book, and I wish all of us, all of you listen to this, is the time that we pass in the grief when we separate. If we could shift and see, what did I get from that relationship? Why this relationship come to me? And not why it finished, because obviously if I'm suffering, it's because I didn't want it to finish, but it finished. It didn't come to the end I wanted, but what it left me with, especially if you manage to finish it on time. So for me, this is as important as a relationship that end with being together and arriving to older age together, etc. So, and I'm saying it in a many meaning, because I'm the daughter of a couple, of a loving couple. I'm the first daughter, very planned and very wanted daughter of a couple that he died when he was 29 and she was 24. That is a couple that lived intensely 5 years together, and it was cut. And I remember many, many years later, my mom saying, "Oh, I wish your father fall in love with somebody else and left, but he will be still alive." And and you hear all these things about how much pain when he goes with somebody else or she goes in somebody else. But life have different perspective from different angle, depending who you are and how you are in every moment in life. And I wish for us all to be able to be compassionate with us and with those people that pass through our life, that we didn't make them to the end with them. I think this is the main thing about the book, and how we can get very much enriched with relationships, especially if we end them on time.
Stunning. Thank you so much. What a beautiful way to wrap up for today. Also, to really just embrace the truth of the relationship and how that book can actually help people through many different transitions to come to terms with the reality of it and accept and deal also with the grieving process. And I know it has a very specific guide for intimacy. So for those of you out there that are interested to pick up either one of Viola's books, you can watch this video and tap onto the links that I have on the description. And if you're lucky, you might hear Viola speaking again about this book in Cyprus sometime soon. But certainly those of you in Egypt, I think if you're watching this, you'll know this is a great opportunity to head on over to that library and find the book, because that's an amazing accomplishment, Viola. Thank you so
Thank
much
you so much. Thank
for
you.
sharing, and congratulations for that. That's really, really special.
Yeah.
So thanks again for everything.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt you, Hellenic. I will interrupt you because I'm also part of several books, and I did enjoy this very much. It was a different way of being part of a book. We were interviewed. We were kind of interviewed, analyzed, digested, and and put out there in those interviews. And I did enjoy reading this book very, very much. And I really want to encourage you to catch yourself in the lies that you think about yourself, about your relationship, about the world around you, and transform it in those truths that is not only one, is your truth. And that truth also is organic and can be transformed through the years. But if you have a chance, please get it and read it and let us know what did you think about it. Thank you.
Nice interruption. I like it. This is a great collaboration we did together with Viola, and it's so nice to also know that you're in that book, along with a very special friend that also reminded us of how important health is for women who are out there helping others. And again, thank you for being part of that journey and for also sharing it with others. And for everybody watching, as you know, you can head on over to the LinkedIn profile of Viola, and you can also see her information on our website and get to know a little bit more about her work if you don't know about it. And Viola, thanks again and good luck with all your endeavors. What are you looking forward to most next?
Well, next is I become the president of a beautiful global network of mentors. So we are, as you know, there is the 17 sustainable UN sustainable goal. The number 17 is through let's don't leave anyone behind. And I always say, if really we want to do that, we need much more therapists and mentors ready, because a person like me, like you, Hellenic, we need more than one person that can support us. So the idea is to train as many mentors as possible, because all of us, we can be. Mentor is somebody who had that deep experience in life that managed to go through to the other side of the tunnel, triumphant and learning the lesson. And the idea is how you're going to pass that to somebody else with generosity and humbleness. So we have all these beautiful programs where you become a mentor and you can become a professional mentor. Like I have a young mentor of 14 or 16 that helped me how to use these better. So and then you present an exam online and you have there is several titles that you can acquire. So I'm very involved with that, honoring that, and we have in next month a beautiful event in Lisbon about it. And then as I age, and you mentioned before, I did understand what women go through when our hair change, our hips change, our skin change, and I felt so. I never, how can I say? I always loved women. My mother, I adore her. I adored her, my sister. But I think as I age, especially in the menopausal time, Hellenic, I felt this deep, deep love and gratitude for women for all what we go through. And I wanted to support women more, to live in grace, to be comfortable, to keep using colors. And so I'm creating all these things about circular and sustainable fashion. And there is 3 words: comfort, color, and your own style. Because not to be trapped in fashion, but you create your own style while you feel comfortable and beautiful. Doesn't matter how wide are our hips, and doesn't matter that some years ago I had this thick curly red hair, and this is what I have now. So we always can make the best of things, and we wear glasses, so let them be the best. So I become the president of an organization called Sustainable Art and Fashion Academy. And we pretend to be like the Oscar for the films industry. We pretend to be that for the fashion industry, to award, to regulate, to expand, to educate. And many of you are going to be accompanying me in that journey. The founder is Ariana Ono, and is a Spanish Cuban, Estonian woman, beautiful. We will have a program about that if you want. So also I talk about this because it doesn't matter how old you are, there is so many creativity things to do. And of course, I keep going with my Grit Academy that I'm partnered with my sister. and the Creative Women platform that I'm a partner with Olga Balaklit, and we do event all around the world, and they just been in New York, and the next one is gonna be in Saudi beginning of November. And I'm gonna have a little event in Alexandria also for Creative Women. So here we are. We will need many years to do all the projects we have in mind, but doesn't matter. We share them, and while there is breath, there is possibility of transformation and expansion. And this is what I do.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Viola. And if everybody watching, head on over to the links, and it would be great if you want to know a little bit more. You can find out from the Amazon platform how to get the book in your country, and also how to learn a little bit more about mentoring, and follow Viola for all the other great things that she's busy with. And again, Viola, once again, thanks so much for your time.
Until next time.